Coming up today, we're going to tee it high and let it fly as two-time major champion John Daly joins us live in studio.
But it's over. The claret jug belongs to Long John Daly.
He's part of the field at this week's PNC Father-Son Challenge, as well as the upcoming Diamond Resorts Invitational. But first, he's stopping by Studio AP, and you do not want to miss this. Plus, our very own Charlie Reimer will be competing against Long John on the PGA Tour Champions next year. Today, we'll bring you a behind-the-scenes preview at how his preparation is going for the big debut in February.
He hasn't played competitive golf in quite some time, and this is a big ask.
And if you're still struggling to find the perfect gifts for the golfers in your life this holiday season, then stay tuned as we continue to bring you the latest and greatest in technology and fashion that will surely bring a smile this Christmas. All that and more is on the way today, Wednesday, December 13th, 2017. And a very good morning to you, Cara Banks. Charlie Reimer and I have been joined by four-time PGA Tour winner Nota Begay. They didn't scare you off yesterday. You're back again for day
I made
two.
it back. I made it. My alarm went off just in time.
I'm very pleased to have you here. You know who else we're going to have in studio today? You just heard it in the tease. John Daly. What a hoot that is going to be. But get this. We just, our researcher Nicole Ray actually just found this out for us. In November, just a month ago, the driver that he used to come out of nowhere and win the 1991 PGA Championship just sold in auction for over $17,000. The grip it and rip it style, guys, it obviously still sells.
Well, you remember that driver. It was a white driver, ceramic. It was a product by Cobra. Nobody had heard of John Daly. Nobody had heard of that driver. And I'm going to tell you what, those drivers were flying off the shelves, and we've been talking about John Daly ever since. That was a heck of a week up at Crooked Stick.
Yeah, it was a golf club that launched his career and actually, in a way, to change the style of golf forever.
It really did. I mean, that was the first time these major championships had gone to this big, modernized type of setup with the architectural design by Pete Dye. And John Daly played it like no one had ever played a major, just bombing it off the tee, making putts, and just really picked that golf course apart.
That week was great for chiropractors all across the world because they had a lot of good business of people swinging at it hard and throwing their backs out for quite a long time after watching JD break through and win that PGA Championship.
Well, he actually gave the driver to Pete Dye, and it just sold at the auction just this last Saturday. So he still moves the needle, and I'm sure he'll be needling all of us when he comes in studio in just a few minutes' time, so don't go anywhere. But right now, we'll say good morning to Lauren Thompson.
Good morning, Cara and crew. Good morning to everyone at home. Yeah, John Daly, a career we've all followed. I've listened to his radio show for a while. You never know what he's going to say, very candid style, so stay tuned. We might have some surprises today on Morning Drive. But for now, let's move into the news. What's happening now? And let's begin with the RNA, which is introducing a new amateur championship for junior female golfers. It's the inaugural Girls Under 16s Championship, which will be played at Fulford on the outskirts of York, England, April 27th through the 29th of 2018. In this move, it's part of the RNA's goal to boost the girls' game in Great Britain and Ireland, and is designed to provide a clear pathway through to the elite amateur level for leading young players. This is now added to the list of the RNA's women's championships, including the Ricoh Women's British Open, where IK Kim will defend her title at Royal Lytham and St. Anne's. Also happening now, the PGA of America announcing yesterday that the 2019 PGA Professional Championship will be held at Belfair in Bluffton, South Carolina. It will mark the third time the event has been held in South Carolina, which moves to April in 2019 as the PGA Championship shifts to May. Taking a look at some of the past champions, Omar Uresti will be defending champion at Belfair come April. Rich Barbarian Jr., he won back in 2016, and Matt Dobbins, who took the title in both 2012 and 2015. But now to Port St. Lucie, Florida, where Bob Sowards captured event number 4 in the PGA Tournament Series presented by Golf Advisor. The Dublin, Ohio resident carded a 4 under 68 on Tuesday. He finished 5 under 139 total to capture his 8th career PGA Tournament Series title. Sowards is also now tied for 7th on the all-time PGA Tournament Series list. But Cara Banks, I'm still getting used to that new last name. Someone else is celebrating today, aren't they?
Yeah, don't you worry, Lauren, so am I. But yeah, December 13th is the birthday of Ricky Fowler. He He turns 29 today, so we're wishing him many happy returns after really what was a career week for him at the Hero World Challenge, shooting that 61 in the final round to win the event that's hosted by Tiger Woods. He is a four-time winner on the PGA Tour. Arguably, though, the best moment of his career, guys, came at the Players' Championship in 2015. Let's remind you how clutch he was down the stretch. Here he is, his approach to the par 5 16th, playing his second nota. He's 5 back with 6 to play.
Well, this is what we love about the TPC course at Sawgrass, is there's a lot of risk reward. Ricky took on the risk and he got the reward there. Beautiful second shot, easy eagle.
Yeah, easy to get to 10 under. He was 5 back with 6 to play. Charlie, obviously now 2 to play on the tee at 17.
Yeah, this aggressive play here. I still, it's been a while since I looked at that approach that we just saw at 16. It's one thing to take it in there with a wedge and go at that flag stick, but that approach at 16 with that fairway metal, wow, was that unbelievable.
And then come and birdie the 17 to move to 11 under going to the final hole.
Yeah, not entirely sure where he stood with regard to the lead, so he had to keep the gas down to try and close up that gap, not knowing what the leaders were going to do, and that's exactly what he did. That is an aggressive tee shot to one of the narrowest parts of the fairway at 18.
Yeah, took advantage, capped off his final round with a birdie that would force a 3-hole playoff. It was the first year of the aggregate playoff, so this is the second hole, and we're on 17 again.
Yep, and he's still looking at that flag stick. Now the wind was a little bit favorable here, and then it was left to right helping, but in that situation with all the energy that's around that entire hole, amazing play.
The 3-way playoff then became 2. It's Fowler versus Kisner back on 18.
And this was just the knockout blow here. Many players would have taken a 3-wood, try and hit a little baby draw out to the right, to the widest part of the fairway. Ricky took out that driver, which is one of the best clubs in his bag that day, and took advantage.
And well, both of them with par 18. Now they head to a sudden death playoff. We're going to go back to 17 again, Charlie.
And still firing at that flag stick. See him starting that a little bit left, letting it slide to the right just perfectly. He ever starts to feeling bad about his golf game? I think he's got a pretty nice highlight clip. I mean, go pulling all of these shots, Noda.
Just how good he played that 17th hole was. You won't see much like that come next few years.
Confidence.
Never see that again.
Aggression that we saw from him, and no doubt he knows the importance of that win. He knows how strong the field is at the Players' Championship, and he takes a lot from that. Never has he broken through in a major championship yet. He has had 7 top 5 finishes. Don't forget, he finished inside the top 5 at all 4 of them in the year of 2015. But his coach, Butch Harmon, recently joined us in the studio, and Damon asked him, what are you saying to Ricky as the world puts pressure on him to break through and win that first major championship?
The pressure on Ricky is he puts more on himself on the weekends. This young man has played this past year the best he's ever played. All his statistics were better than ever. He's just got to learn to relax on the weekends in a major and just let it happen. He wants it so bad. He sees all his good buddies, Justin Thomas, Jordan Spieth, they're winning majors, and everyone's telling him that he's got to win a major and he's got to do this. Well, he's got the game to win a major. You don't have to worry about that. Once he gets to where he can relax a little on the course on Saturday and Sunday, because he's put himself there last year, top 5 in 2 of them, so he's got the game to win. He's going to win. It's just a matter of dialing himself down and enjoying the process as much as trying to push himself forward.
Well, Butch said that Ricky had some great stats this past season on the PGA Tour, and indeed he did. These are numbers that are so incredibly impressive. Number 1 in sand saves. I mean, that tells me a lot about a golfer. Scoring average, obviously that speaks for itself. Strokes gained putting, only one player statistically better than Ricky onto the greens. Birdie average. Total driving, that's a stat we don't talk a lot about. That's a combination of distance and accuracy. That means he's hitting it a long ways down the fairway, in the fairway. That makes his game a lot easier. And then when he does miss greens, overall scrambling, he's 8th. It's almost like there's no weaknesses in that game. You would think that if you look at a player that has stats like Ricky Fowler does, and he's been at it a long time, almost 200 starts, statistically speaking, you would think maybe there's been more than 4 wins in his career. And you look at those runner-up finishes, 12 runner-up finishes, 7 times he has finished in 3rd position. If you look at his 54-hole leads, Noda, 5 times he's taken a 54-hole lead on the PGA Tour the final day, and only 1 day has he been able to convert it. So I don't want to pick on Ricky because he's an incredible player. He's done amazing things. We just saw unbelievable highlights. But it seems like he's underperforming a little bit relative to the talent that he has. And we sort of get into the whys of that. Butch says he pushes a little too hard. I happen to think that Ricky might be a little too nice. He says yes too many times. Does that hurt him a little bit?
I don't think so, and I wouldn't say he's underperforming. I think his learning curve might be just a bit flatter when it comes to taking that next big step. Obviously, he's won multiple times on the PGA Tour, had that huge year in 2014 where he was in the top 5 in every single major championship. Big expectations headed into 15, won the Players' Championship, so even bigger expectations headed into 16. And what happened? He kind of hit a little bit of a speed bump. No top 10s in the majors, 2 missed cuts. Comes back last year. Now let's look at last year. In 3 of the 4 majors headed into the final round, he was in the top 5. Headed into in 3 of those majors, he was in the top 5. And so he is putting himself in position to win these major championships. Now, he hasn't come up big on Sunday like Butch referenced, but I think if you look back to the PGA Championship, had his worst round of the week on Saturday, shot 73 at Quail Hollow, comes back with a 67 and posted early and had a chance to actually backdoor that PGA Championship. Justin Thomas put up a great performance, but he is making progress in this particular area, and it's just going to take one big round for him either on Saturday or Sunday for him to win his first major championship.
Butch says, and I agree 100% with Butch, it sometimes looks like Ricky is trying too hard. What does that look like, trying too hard with a PGA Tour player?
It looks like you just start pressing. You start trying to make things happen. You start taking risks that you really shouldn't take. And him and Joey Skovron have developed a great strategy and a great approach to these big tournaments. They've put themselves in contention enough times to know better when to play conservative and when to be aggressive. And so I think he just needs to continue to stay patient, let his clubs do the talking. His statistical performance and his consistency over the last few years has improved. So continue to put yourself there, which he's doing, but be a little bit more patient and let the game open up to you and take advantage of the opportunities when they present themselves and play away from trouble when you have to.
That's great advice and observation of a PGA Tour player. But I'm telling you, folks, if you're trying to break through a barrier, beat your dad for the first time, break 80 for the first time, break 100 for the first time, those same lessons apply to you.
Absolutely.
Be patient. Don't push. Try a little less. Relax. I think if Ricky does that, we're going to see some majors coming his way. Right now, let's check in with Lauren Thompson, who's got the the T sheet. I almost call it the LT sheet. Maybe we ought to rename it LT.
Are you copying Gary?
No, I'm not copying Gary.
Oh, we all saw that on TV, folks. Well, coming up this morning, we are excited to welcome John Daly to the show, the 2-time major champion. He's in the field for this week's PNC Father-Son Challenge, but also playing in a first-class, star-studded event in January. He's going to give you the details, show us that famous swing in the simulator, and join Charlie and Noda to go inside the locker room for stories you don't want to miss. From there, we're going to take you inside a top spot for great golf gifts to make your holiday shopping stress-free. Bailey Mosher, she's going to show you what's new with golf shoes and why this is the best time of year to get them for the golfers on your list. Now December, it also marks crunch time for Charlie Reimer, who's been preparing to make his PGA Tour Champions debut in 2018. So, how's it coming along with his highly publicized team? Get the update on the Reimer project because, Cara, it may or may not be going so hot.
I cannot wait to watch that. I have to tell you, it's one of the most anticipated pieces of all time. But meanwhile, we need to let you know that our studio scenics today are provided by Kapalua Golf, which Charlie refers to as what kind of a place, Charlie?
This is my happy place right there.
Are you meditating?
If I'm ever gone for a long time and you actually want to find me, start looking here.
This is what we need. This is the kind of Reimer we need in studio.
Calm. Nice. Calm.